Hey everyone, and welcome to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. We are three generations, three perspectives, one cup of truth. So get ready for a refreshing take on hot button topics because we're brewing up a steaming hot take on today's most pressing issues where we're going to dish on everything from social justice to pop culture with humor, honesty, and maybe even a little healthy debate. We're going to sip the tea, spill the honest truth, and find some common ground across the generational gap. This show is informative, it's insightful, and it's guaranteed to what?
Stir the pot.
Stir the pot. So, you guys, hello again. I am Dr. Melissa, and I'm representing the best generation, the X generation.
And what's up, y'all? I'm Amber holding it down for us millennials.
And I'm Zion, keeping it real for Generation Z.
Amen. I said that to stir the pot, but they didn't take the big bait. So they are very well adjusted
Taking
human
the
beings.
high road.
Amen. When
Yes.
I went low, they went high. Okay,
Amen.
okay, that's good. You guys, today I'm actually excited about this topic today, because I think if you haven't heard about this, please let us open your minds today and enlighten you because this is something that is here and it's not going to go away. So today we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence. And I'm going to go ahead and keep it real. When I first heard AI, I'm a Virginia girl, so I thought they was talking about Allen Iverson. AI, right? But no. AI, artificial intelligence. Y'all, this is a thing. This is a thing that has permeated every part of our lives.
Yeah.
So, tell me what you think. I mean, is it a good thing, a bad thing? What are you feeling about it?
Well, when I first found out about AI, which was a few years ago, when people were raving about it, how it had passed the MCATs and passed the bar, and I was like, "Ooh, this thing's smart." So I didn't get a taking on actually utilizing it to probably a few months ago, and for me, it's like being able to get like real time answers or even just getting a different perspective other than what I'm thinking about, right? So being able to just ask a question like, okay, what is your take on this or some ideas on this? And it gives you a whole list of things. I'm like, I didn't think about those. So I feel like it's a good advantage and a good tool to use in that regard. So yeah.
Okay. I'm sure Z is going to first educate us and give us an educated answer on what it is because I threw out my generic, basic
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes, please inform us of
So
the actual
using
definition.
Google as a great reference here. So the Google definition for artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to computer systems capable of performing complex tasks that historically only a human could do, such as reasoning, making decisions, or solving problems. Because that's the whole foundation of AI. The AI was created to mimic human behavior, human reasoning, but to also bypass human capabilities into also making predictions as well. For an example, you look on Amazon and you're looking at say you're shopping clothes. So for your next search, there's always going to be suggestions that mimic or is very similar to your previous search.
Yes.
So that's kind of the whole gist of AI. So AI is more of my generation. However, I haven't utilized it as much as a normal Zer probably would. As you said, AI has a lot of capabilities in regards to, especially like academics.
Yes.
You got Chat GPT, you got all these different, I guess these AI automated apps that can allow you to receive answers on command, and that can bypass a lot of systems. That's why institutions and just other schools have been trying to go ahead and prevent that from happening by like, I believe what was it called? Where there's apps that can detect if it was AI generated.
Yes.
Yeah. And like when you they have like certain things when you're submitting a paper and it has to go through like their own internal check.
Right.
For them to be able to tell like if this was yours or if this was AI or plagiarized.
Yes.
Right.
So,
because let me tell you, particularly for my Xers, what this AI thing is, and believe it or not, some people in my generation, I'm not going to deal with AI. Yes, you are. If you in your car and you using GPS,
You got to.
you're using AI. Just to let you know. If you say, Siri, play such and such, play Luther, you're using AI. Okay. So, and I say that because I've talked to some people in my generation and they like, that's going too far. Yeah. And we'll delve into that too, because like with anything, it can be scary. Right. But the basic premise behind AI for my Xers is based on prompts, right? Mm-hmm. So for instance, you'll go into, Zion mentioned Chat GPT, and there's Gemini, and there's a ton of others, more coming out with every breathing moment. But you'll enter these prompts. And to Amber's point, so you might say something like, y'all, and I'm not making this up, somebody really did this. Like, tell me how to break up with somebody. Give me like a script of how to break up with somebody. And AI will go ahead and spit it out. And you can even say what tone, in a friendly tone, in a sad tone, Ooh. In a mad tone. And when Zion said the thing about predictive, it's able to respond almost in a human way. Right. Like and the better your prompts, like the more you put in there that you're telling it what to do and how to do, it really gives you your output is really only as good as your input. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things. If you got a crappy prompt and you just put something basic and generic, you're going to get a generic output. But if you're very specific, you're going to get a better response from them. Oh. But I will say this is the thing too. When Zion was talking about predictive, one of the things about AI that I'm just learning is that it's learning. Mm-hmm. It is ever learning. It is. So with some of these tools, you'll hear people saying, we're training the AI to be more like you or to think more like you.
And that's what I was going to say. It's advancing over time, resembling human predictive nature over time, the reasoning as well.
That's kind of scary, don't you think? That's like very scary because something as smart and intelligent as AI learning how to be a human essentially is like,
that's scary.
Yeah, I don't know no other way to put it. It's very scary. It's like they might be trying to take over our jobs.
It's giving me like iRobot and the Matrix. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know I'm not trying to scare you because it's here.
Right.
But I am saying, when you've got something that intelligent and that smart.
And they say with movies and stuff, they say the movies always predict what happens, down the line. iRobot came out some years ago.
I shouldn't have even said y'all, I shouldn't have said it because now Amber gonna be staying up at night, y'all. Listen,
having nightmares and dreams. I'm about to turn into a robot, or be fighting robots or something. Yeah. Okay, no, I digress. I'm sorry.
And from the studies I've researched that it can never get evolved to the point where it can take over, humankind because it's managed and that data is actually uploaded by real individuals. So it is managed and overseen by. Like in real time by real people.
iRobots was managed.
No. We're gonna stick with that narrative. No. Because I used AI this morning, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not mad at it, and I don't want it to take over.
I don't either. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at it. It's just a little scary in some places. That's all.
It is
a little science fiction, but the point you made that it can start taking over like jobs as well, especially like one good example is factory jobs. Yep. AI, one benefit is it doesn't get tired, physically exhausted, doesn't get mentally exhausted, and it doesn't usually make minor mistakes that we can as individuals having mental lapses. Yeah. So so they're good in factory jobs, stuff like that doesn't cost a lot of like physical labor like on a human being. So that
even
can
to pay
start
a human being.
Exactly.
Think of it from an employer stance.
AI is very expensive. So if we're talking about cost, they are better off, paying a human being. But when you think about the production, it can start evening itself out as well. So it can start taking jobs as well. Maybe even some corporate jobs. So.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and say, Zion, it already has. Mm-hmm. So for things that I do in my world, particularly now with digital marketing, you've got copywriters. Mm-hmm. You've got people that you used to have to hire to write advertisement copies and stuff. Well, AI will do that for you, lickety split.
Absolutely.
Right? You got people that content creators, people that we needed to depend on for curriculum development.
Right.
Listen, myself included, my doctorate is in curriculum, education, curriculum, and instruction. And so now when you can deliver a prompt and get out information that a human being went to school for a very long time to be able to give, we're already seeing it in the business world, where, to both of your points, when you think about it, time is money. So what we're talking about is production and effectiveness, fewer errors, because you don't have the human component. We're human, so we're not perfect. AI isn't either. Don't get, because sometimes, and you can listen to me. You can go ahead and put that prompt in if you want to and copy it directly and put it in something. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to play yourself. Because AI is not foolproof.
It's not.
And some of the stuff that the AI, I've put prompts in before, and I'm like,
how does it make sense?
Make it make sense.
That's why it's still evolving. It hasn't completely replicated human reasoning and human behavior. So you're gonna have some lapses with that as well, some errors. So.
Right. Now a good point that you did make when you were talking about on Amazon, how it has that good memory. So for a person like me that loves to shop, you know how to put something in the search bar, and I'm like, I can't get it right to figure out what I'm looking for, and then it just pop up. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because when it's that time of the month when you like, you don't need to spend no money, and then you just click the Amazon app, or even sometimes when you're on Facebook, the ads and stuff kind of like transpose to things that you might have been looking for, or even just saying. And it just pop up. Part. And I'm like, hey, I was just talking to somebody about this. How does just pop up on the ad?
That part.
And then I end up buying it, but still.
That's a great example. I'll take it a step further, even with TikTok too. Your For You page. That's a whole app designated to revolve around the content that you like to view.
Absolutely.
So they filter that completely based on
your likings,
your previous viewings. Exactly.
And the TikTok shop, like the things that they see that you like tend to look at the longest, like they filter that TikTok shop around those items. I'm like, hey, and then it don't hurt that it don't cost that much, and you get it in a reasonable fashion, right? So I'm like, hey, how y'all know this stuff? Look. AI got its advantages, is basically what I'm saying.
No, so y'all, it's funny. First of all, thank you for the whole For You, because my my Y and Z generation try to keep me relevant. So when I started doing TikTok, I'm doing pretty well on TikTok now, I must say.
You're doing great.
Yeah, so Instagram too. Amber was like, #For You. I've been putting #For You because she said to. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it was a whole app around that. So amen.
Yeah, you populate on a lot of people's For You on that tab.
But I'm gonna tell you guys, to that point, I was having a conversation. I was in a hotel room with my husband. We were having a conversation. When we turned on the television and these ads started coming up, it started bringing up
the stuff y'all talking about.
What we were talking about.
Yeah, it's
now. So listen, I'm not one of those. I'm not a conspiracy person and a theorist, and that's not my thing. That's not my jam. But what I will say is that AI is extremely prevalent. I think it's now becoming mainstream. Yeah, but you need to understand, anything that's mainstream now has been in existence for a while.
Exactly.
Right. So what we're going to do, you guys, we're going to go ahead and take this break. We kind of we've been talking more about the cons of it. And we're going to delve back into that. But when we come back, I do want to talk about some more benefits of it. Absolutely. And how it can enhance our lives. And so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in 30 seconds. Come right on back.
Catch the wave of success with Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa. Unlock your purpose, align it with your entrepreneurial spirit, and witness your business thrive. This isn't just about authenticity, it's about building a foundation so solid, your business becomes synonymous with profitability. Tune in as we delve into marketing strategies that work and create an empire that stands on business. Because when purpose meets strategy, success is inevitable. Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa, where authenticity meets profitability.
Okay, thank you, and welcome back to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. Now, before the break, we were talking about AI, not Allen Iverson, artificial intelligence, And we were sort of delving into kind of a mismatch of whether it was positive, negative. And so I think we may have come off with more of the cons in the first part of the segment. And don't get me wrong, we're going to go back to some more too, because we didn't talk about all of them.
Right.
But I want us to make sure that we are being balanced when we talk about AI. So what are the positives? Like, let's really sort of dig into the positives of artificial intelligence.
Right. So like, when I was saying earlier about like real time responses with, being able to, if you're thinking about something, getting the exact prompt or response on what you're thinking. So really the productivity that it can provide. It can cut down, with me, like I always ramble with thoughts in my brain, but sometimes it's hard for me to be able to articulate what I'm trying to say, or even if I'm just writing in my journal or something, or a class, just trying to put the words to what I'm trying to say. So then, things and tools like AI where you put in like all the things you're thinking about, and it can give you the terminology of how you're able to present it. So others can sometimes get a look into your brain and see what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So, that cuts down a lot with, trying to figure out what you're trying to say, and you get something like AI and it just tell you that prompt real quick. Save me about 30 minutes, maybe an hour or hours.
Amen.
So,
Amen. Amen. What about you?
And just to kind of piggyback on you a little bit, but then also to add something new, like, earlier we mentioned, like, how convenient it is, especially in regards to navigation. Like, I know I use GPS every day. So I don't know what I would do without GPS. So it's just very convenient, and that's managed in real time. Like, for example, for those who use GPS, like it will report a hazard.
Yes.
They'll do a speed check. Like it's managed real time through data management algorithms, different versions of that. And then we also talked about just even receiving information, like, earlier y'all mentioned, with Siri and all that, and just Google, and that you can just receive information on command
in a split second.
So that's definitely beneficial.
Yeah. Sometimes with Siri, it take her a little bit, but she eventually get it.
Siri, sometimes me and Siri don't always, because Siri will start answering when you didn't ask her anything. Right. But when I've asked you Siri, and I've said Siri 5 times, and you ghost, you say nothing. Then if I start talking to Zion, what? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Have several seats, because. but yeah, to your point too, because I'm gonna be honest with you, there are smart homes, Alexa.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here's the thing, we want to talk about pros. What about those individuals that are older? When you can say voice activated, turn the lights on.
Right.
When you can say set the temperature.
Right.
It's really able to help people live more independently for things that we take for granted, right?
Right.
So when I tell you it's been a huge blessing. Think about people with disabilities. Right. Hearing impaired, visually impaired. Yeah. There's something to say about having that kind of capability. It's powerful.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to say too, even from the standpoint of business, and sometimes with my clients that I do business coaching with, messaging and staying on brand. It's a mechanism that can help you to stay consistent, right? Once you dial in your tone and you dial in the feel and the atmosphere of what you're trying to produce, AI has a way of helping to keep the consistency, because that's human beings, y'all. Come on, Monday we might feel some sort of way, and Tuesday we might feel another sort of way, and Wednesday we don't know what sort of way we feel. And so it's a good way of, for me, when I'm talking to clients, we talk about staying on message and staying on brand. It's a good positive thing as well. So
that's good, especially when you're talking about consistency and staying on task and on schedule, because like for me, I have 2 toddlers. So staying on schedule and on a consistent schedule, not even just for me, for them, is imperative, right? So being able to look up different things using Gemini or ChatGPT, what are some consistent schedules that I can keep on task for me and my toddlers, from others, and, for other families that might be growing or big, and, needing consistency is important. So that's a great thing.
Right.
That is so good.
Right. And just to add on to your point, as a pro, all this implementation of these AI tools have showed an increase in entrepreneurship as well, because they can utilize all these new tools. It makes it very convenient, and it's encouraging entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah. I love it. I love that anytime we talk about efficiency, anytime we talk about effectiveness, It's a great thing. So, here's what I will say. With anything good, there's the potential for it to be utilized in ways that are not so good.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
and we've talked about that with everything from when we talk about living in this digital age, we've delved into dating, and we've talked about work life. We've talked about a plethora of things. Communication. And what we talk about, and what we hope that you walk away with when we talk about our perspective, is that there are tremendous advantages.
Right.
Now, what happened with Xers, my ex people, we will focus sometimes on the cons as a way of saying, I'm going to check out of this, right? And we're going to talk about the cons, and they are real. They are very, very real. And so for some people in my generation, it's just way too intuitive. It's way too smart. It's way too predictive.
Right.
And it feels like sort of the way we were going before with the whole revolution. It feels like we're sort of losing
Our
human
ground.
touch.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you as we talk about cons, let me throw this out there. My concern is we stop thinking. Because now it's so easy to do a prompt. And while I could have sat down and thought about the letter that I needed to write, or what I needed to say to someone that I'm breaking up with, or an apology, public apology that I need to give, rather than going inward and really doing that, coming from the heart, and you don't even have to type it in. You can just say, hey,
say what you
want to say and get this output. So my concern is about us. Like I said, I'm a nerd, and I'm a big education proponent. I worry that we stop thinking and we rely on artificial intelligence rather than our own intelligence.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, because with how smart AI is, and from someone like me that actually worked really hard while in college, trying to obtain these different, degrees and certifications that I have, and sometimes being intimidated by something such as AI, where you can put whatever, you might have a discussion thread or something, or a task that, your professor might have given you, and you can just simply type that in, versus, we used to have to research and find different information to be able to, get the information that we need. It was like going around in a whole maze trying to answer certain questions. And now all you got to do is literally type in a prompt and you can get that answer. Right. So it's kind of like intimidating for me that all that research I did, and I already don't like to do a whole bunch of research.
Oh, Zion, please, before you go, please let me dive in real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, not talking to the Y or Zers. Y'all can just tune out. Xers, isn't it funny when you hear like a millennial talk about all of that research they had to do, all of that Googling that they were able to do, all of that getting on the computer, and we had those big old Britannical encyclopedias. Y'all remember that? And if you were rich, you had the set. I wasn't. So you had to go to the library, and you had to go to the card catalog, and you had to go through the little cards and find the y'all remember that? Yeah. So it just amazes me when I hear all this research that I had to do. We couldn't just prompt. We had to go into Google and type it in. Yeah, I'm just sorry. Go ahead, Zion. I digress, y'all. I'm in my feelings.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I definitely agree with y'all. I'm so glad we're on the cons now. There is definitely an over reliance on AI, and to me, I believe it discourages self-sufficiency, authenticity, and productivity. And I'll just go ahead and kind of break that down with the whole self-sufficiency. For example, it's going to really decrease like the quality of like professions and jobs. For example, when you think of college students being able to utilize AI in a medical program, and then later on being doctors,
that is creepy.
That's scary. that's scary. Rather than really receiving the information your own and being able to really like decipher and deduce like, okay, it's this. Rather than let me resort to AI, and they're not going to do that because they don't want to lose credibility. Right. So you kind of playing with people's like lives at that point. So that's the self-sufficiency part. Also, in regards to that, if we think about even like something as simple as like learning how to drive as a teenager. When you think of these new Tesla cars, and that they can self-drive. And no diss to Tesla. I love Tesla. I love the way it looks. But, if it was to ever malfunction,
right,
and you do not know how to operate a vehicle, even if you have a license, but just 2 years without operating a vehicle manually,
you can forget.
and if it malfunctions, what in the world are you going to do?
Exactly.
Right.
So again, it's just like that whole, like, the importance of being self-sufficient, at least to a degree. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of AI, but like Dr. M said, you can't rely solely on artificial intelligence rather than your own intellect.
Yeah.
In regards to authenticity, when you're talking about people doing that, threw me off. Breakup text. it really does. Even though AI is supposed to resemble human behavior, it's not human behavior at the end of the day. AIs don't have hearts. AIs don't have human reasoning, even though it's mimicking it.
Right.
So it's important not to take the authenticity. Y'all, please don't use AI to text your partner.
Your wedding vows.
Yeah, and wedding vows, like, just to do something serious.
Ooh.
Please don't. That takes the authenticity out of it.
You deserve to get dumped if you do that.
Yeah.
And also making sure that you're protecting information that you do put into these different prompts, right? Making sure you're just not putting all of your personal information in there, because we just talked about how it has a good memory. It remembers all of that stuff.
Right.
So just being careful with that.
Right. And then just in regards to productivity, like, when you think of like a house being automated where you can literally just say, turn off the lights, it honestly discourages physical exercise, activity. That's going to impact our health as a society.
No, but that's
I'm
true.
gonna speak for everybody.
True.
Sometimes it comes in handy.
It can come in handy, but
wake up and turn off the lights.
That's saying when you take an inch, you take a foot, or you take a foot, you take a mile. The more you rely on it, the more it discourages.
Then we're not moving at all. I get what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we have become a society where I talk all the time about the microwave mentality. Like, we don't have a crock pot mentality. We want to put it in, zap it in, put in 30 seconds and get it out. You know what I'm saying? I was doing a speech not too long ago and I said, we want to punch you in 30 seconds and 6'4", fine and fit just pops out the microwave, right? Rather than going through the process of meeting people and doing all of those things. Right. But I digress. I want to end you guys with this. And full disclosure, I am a early adopter of AI. I enjoy AI. AI has been a game changer in a lot of things. And I think it has helped to really advance. When you are a business person, when you are an entrepreneur, you are looking to replicate results, and you're also looking to save time, because you want to maximize your time. Right. So it's been great. This is what I'm going to end with: the ethics. There's an ethical issue when it comes to AI. Great. And I will tell you, you can use their old friend Google and Google this up. But let me tell you, my husband showed me a video last week of the Lakers coach talking about bringing on Bronny, LeBron James' son. And basically in this video, he was talking about how LeBron basically strong-armed him and basically told him if he did not bring his son onto the team, he was going to leave and he was going to do all these things. You guys, I watched this video. It was real. So if you remember last week, I said, we get to the point where, hey, I believe what I see.
Right.
Here's the thing. I'm not so sure that you can do that anymore because of AI. That was a doctored video created by AI. Right. Here's the ethical dilemma. There used to be a time when we would say, I believe it when I see it. Yeah. And what I am learning now, in whether you're talking about the political landscape, even with relationships and all of that, when it falls into the wrong hands or people choose to use it in a way that's irresponsible and unethical and abusive, AI can become a nightmare, because now I'm not sure that I can believe what I see or what I hear. Voice cloning. And you don't know, it sounds like your daughter calling you, asking you for $1,500. It sounds like her crying, saying, hey, mom, send me this money. Can you wire me this money real quick? Because I just had a fender bender. Can you send me this money? And here's where you send it. And it's not even your daughter, because her voice has been cloned. And that happened in real life to somebody in my neighborhood. So Here's the thing, you guys. We talk about it all the time. Due diligence.
Yep.
We are in an AI generation. It's an AI time. It's only going to, in my estimation, grow.
Absolutely.
So we have to be cognizant. So for me, with my children, we put in words, phrases. If I ask you this question, you'll give me this answer. Something that nobody else would know. Yeah. So that if I think it's my son calling me and I say, where did we go for vacation last year? Whatever. Right. Build in some protections, you guys, so that you're not taken advantage of, because we've talked before about, basically being scammed and all of that stuff. So make sure you do your due diligence. AI is a wonderful tool, but we need to be smart. And the last thing I'm going to say about this, and because I could go on and on about this right here, the last thing I'm going to say about this that I think is sad is that we lose something now that, let's say, we've seen videos where people have been abused, right? Mm-hmm. That we say, oh my goodness, the reverse part of that, when we talk about Z and the accountability, now a person could have actually done that and say, oh, that was AI. Yeah, I know it looked like you saw me punch her. That wasn't me. That was AI. So a lot of things to think about. What do you guys round us out? What do you think? Scary? Yeah. More pro or more con?
Just to add on that, I think it's
you already know what my brain.
I do think it's more pro, but I think, like as you were saying, there has to be an ethical approach, especially in regard to the video you mentioned. With voice cloning, and then they even, I guess, like they synchronize the voice with his lip movement as well, to make it look like he's actually saying those words.
Yeah, he's done with perfection. And I'm just like, how?
Oh yeah.
I was lost. I think I was standing there for a good 5 minutes.
Taking old video footage,
Old footage.
So we do have to be mindful. We do have to be mindful and just keep an open mind and to make sure if what we're seeing is actually what we're seeing.
That's right. And y'all use your powers for good. I mean, we got AI. Yeah. It's designed, if we do it right, to help us. Please don't be out there. Our people wouldn't do that. So I'm not even going to say it. If we use our powers for good. So, all right, you guys, we could keep going with this. Yeah. Obviously, we might have to run this one back another time as well, just because it's so much meat and potatoes in this, and it's for my Xers really something that we need to talk about, because I need my X people for us to be on point and educated about what's going on in the world. We are the middle children between these digital natives and the people that. Yeah, those people. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's keep this conversation brewing, you guys. Remember, we got to ask questions. We got to listen to understand. And we've got to acknowledge the unique challenges that each generation faces. And listen, y'all, when we look for that common ground, which we should be doing all the time, just know that when we look for it, we'll find it because it's there. So until next time, let's keep sipping and let's keep talking. Tune in next week for another thought-provoking and entertaining conversation that bridges the generational gap, one cup at a time. See you next week.